Something is happening in our world. We've got some difficult days ahead, but it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. I've seen the promised land. These words spoken by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on April 3rd, 1968, expressed his unwavering hope in an unjust world, a world filled with hate and division, a world turned upside down, a world groaning, reaching, yearning toward a new tomorrow. In delivering these words, Dr. King pointed us toward a robust vision for the future that included redemption. His speech that night reflected what he'd seen and come to by faith know. Dr. King dreamed about and believed in another world and urged us at all costs toward it. He isn't alone in this persistent, in the face of persecution and uncertainty, doubling down on hope, the centering of one's life on God's dream of love and hope for the future. Our epistle writer, Paul's, got something to say about this too. Centered in what author L. William Countryman called the borderland of the holy, a space of illuminating secrets, messages, and signs from the one who is and will always be, from the God who is God of all, they begin to acknowledge the deeply compelling call to the realm of the Spirit and a life that is empowered by it. They operate and speak from this space. Paul's story, his introduction to the marginal spaces, his encounter with Jesus on the road to Damascus frames for me anything he has to say. And I can understand him because I've had my own. I've shared with you in the time we've served and learned together, a leaning toward the mystical that I remember from a pretty early age. From fly walking, dancing in a lush green jungle, something like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, to encounters of presence, a woman, maybe an angel, holding, embracing me. Well, because of this, a phrase like, I know because I've known, is a perfectly appropriate descriptor for my experience with God. And I know I'm not alone in this kind of awakening. You have your own stories of experience and encounter, or perhaps why or how you came to believe. You wouldn't be here otherwise. Some experience, some sense, some voice has called you to live differently and in a community that is defined by similar experiences. We, each of us, is invited to this almost mystical level of consciousness in this decidedly alternative community. Well, I hear Paul offer, distilled from this space, what I'll call sacred instructions, his zealous desire and plan for God's reign of peace and healing. I read them as instructions for how we as believers can live, serve, act in unity with God and all creation, right now and always. Here again, the epistle reading, and this time from Eugene Peterson's Message version. Love from the center of who you are. Don't fake it. Run for dear life from evil. Hold on for dear life to good. Be good friends who love deeply. Practice playing second fiddle. Don't burn out. Keep yourselves fueled and aflame. Be alert, servants of the Master, cheerfully expectant. Don't quit in hard times. Pray all the harder. Help needy Christians. Be inventive in hospitality. Bless your enemies. No cursing under your breath. Laugh with your happy friends when they're happy. Share tears when they're down. Get along with each other. Don't be stuck up. Make friends with nobodies. Don't be the great somebody. Don't hit back. Discover beauty in everyone. If you've got it in you, get along with everybody. Don't insist on getting even. That's not for you to do. I'll do the judging, says God. I'll take care of it. Our scriptures tell us that if you see your enemy hungry, go buy that person lunch, or if he's thirsty, get him a drink. Your generosity will surprise him with goodness. Don't let evil get the best of you. Get the best of evil by doing good. When they go low, we go high. Now, it's just testing you to see if you're paying attention. In short, love. Not as the world loves, but as God loves. The healing of ourselves and the world, our society, depends on it. Each of us is invited to this awakening and the call to remembrance of love as the thing, the central ethic for how we are to live. As much as we can, for as long as we can, we've got to stick with love. Because of love, we expand our thoughts beyond the personal to the communal. Love includes, maybe even prioritizes the other. We know this because all creation sings God's plan for our mutual flourishing. God intends that we, all of us, survive. Paul says love. Love is at the center of it all. Love is the ethic. Love is the norm. He offers directions, encouragement, and guidance on love's singularly expansive way. He lays out what to do and how to do it, what to believe and how to behave. Goodness knows we could all use a bit of that kind of centering, particularly now. We need instructions. Love, he says, from the center of who you are, let love be the guide. Now, bell hooks reminds us that love is a verb. So behind and between each of these verses, we don't find the sugary, syrupy, sweet call to a fantastical love, nor a love of convenience, but one of robust hope which extends beyond ourselves to the wider society. In loving, we name and powerfully confront evil. In love, we make hard choices. Love is our response, our hopeful and active response to God's call on our lives and for all creation. Paul reminds us of God's dream of peace and healing and invites us to do our part with confidence and hope in making it so. Our collective emphasis in this season of creation is a reminder of our tethering to the reign of God, God's intention for how we're to live, how we as Christians are to be. This centering with hope and action is perfectly timed with where we find ourselves today, 51 days from our nation's presidential election. At the Democratic National Convention, forever First Lady Michelle Obama gave us a good talking to, ending with the matter-of-fact and rather in-your-face commandment, do something. Now, sure, there are practical things that we can do as we prepare for the election. We can make sure we're registered. We can have conversations with our neighbors and families. We can help support others in the registration process. We can work the polls. But as we move closer to the election, and this is for everybody, not Democrats or Republicans, as we move closer to the election and in the days and weeks, the months ahead, and even after, I'm hoping we can hear these words from Paul. Hear and apply this gathering of sacred instructions that begin with and ground us in a radical love. Hear it as the foundational stuff, the bare minimum, the most basic requirement, love, love, love. It will not be easy. Love rarely is. Something is happening in our world. Womanist creation theologian Karen Baker Fletcher offers that these times demand unrelenting justice and loving relationships in our communities and nation. Simply put, radical hospitality as seat at the table justice. A splattering of crumbs will no longer do. Such dreams for a harmonious path are God's design, with everything and everyone synergistically aligned and in tune and in one accord. Paul's directives help us find our way. As we endure this time of pain and questions, as we continue to move forward with the dream of liberation for all, as we confront our country's contradictions. They give us something to hold on to. Paul provides a structure that transforms our lives and strengthens our capacity to live forward. That helps us process the sometimes unimaginable spaces of either or that we find ourselves in, and when choice seems limited or non-existent. Paul guides us on the loving path. This is our do something. It holds within it a power that leans toward the fullness of God. It is our right now investment, one that is emboldened by a passionate urgency and hope for future generations. That's our children. Today, I double down on the words of our epistle reading, words that encourage our mutual flourishing. Love from the pit of your being, and this is the Lisha Epperson version. Love from the pit of your being. Evil, avoid it. Pursue good. No, you don't always have to be first. Allow someone else to shine. Every now and then, consider playing second fiddle. Do what's needed to keep your fire burning bright. Take care of yourself so that you don't have to quit. When life is hard, pray harder. Be a place and space of welcome. Know in the pit of your soul that God's got you. When they go small and low, we go beyond. We go up, we go high, we go love. We go with God and stand strong. Wake up to this call to the borderlands, this secret place, this dynamic, alive space of spirit activity. Let's align and anchor ourselves in the power of the Spirit. Tune into, simply stated, our core values. Hear as covenant these sacred instructions. May they expand our thinking, lead us to healing, justice, restoration, redemption. Together we can affirm and dream our world anew. Let's not miss this opportunity for a loving awakening. And so today, as you're seated in these pews, I invite you to spend a little of your own time listening, practicing that opening to the Spirit, and discovering and discerning your own messages, your own sacred instructions. We're going to need them. And so find that comfortable seat. Will just be a moment. Whatever's in your hands, maybe put it down. Find a comfortable space to be. Just be. And we'll just begin with the breath. And so seal your lips. And take that nice full inhale. Pause at the top if you can. And release it through the nose. Feel your chest rise. Do it again. Breathe in, releasing. Hold it at the top and let it go through the nose. One last time, breathing in. Pause and let it out. Just return to your normal pace of breathing as you consider what might be being illuminated for you. What are you seeing in your own life? What are you noticing? What are you hearing? When language fails, because it does and it will, what will you know in the deepest part of your soul? What will you know on the inside? And so this can be either in part or whole, because sometimes knowing comes like that. But for this moment, grab on, pay attention to that sense of knowing in whatever form it may be. What are you remembering? What experiences, like Paul, have you had, like me? How will this time and those experiences prepare you for whatever comes next? So just pause here to reflect. If absolutely nothing comes up for you, take this moment to just be still. Take it as a pause, a rest spot in your day. That's a gift these days, so receive that. How will you make meaning of this time? What is being revealed about who you are, about who we are? This is a space of reciprocal learning, so we're always teaching each other. We're always walking side by side with God. The time is now to build, to craft the story. What will this time have meant for you? And how will we maintain our connection with ourselves and the world? This is where we can begin. So listen and always begin with love. We'll take just 60 seconds here.